Hello,
All right, let's
hello,
go.
hello, and welcome to 2023. And it's January's guest slot. And we are going to be talking today with Crt Gojznik. Gojznik.
Yeah, it's
Gojznik.
hard. It's hard to pronounce it. It's like it's pronounced Gojznik, but yeah,
Gojznik. That's it,
totally fine.
Gojznik. Right. We
Totally
are
fine.
here today with Crt Gojznik. And Crt, I wrote the heading that he's a paid advertising specialist, but really he likes to use the term performance marketing. And I love that. We're not just going to be talking about paid advertising today. We're going to be talking about making your marketing work harder for you, and all about getting results. So, Crt, thank you so much indeed for coming on today.
Of course, it's a big pleasure.
The pleasure is all mine, as they say, right? So, I have known Crt now for quite a while, and I would I would describe him as an international jet setter. He can often be found perusing the cafes on the continent. I'm sure if he were to remove his background now, he'd be somewhere very, very glamorous. But look, I'm just gonna check that we are live. We have had instances where it doesn't always go live, so I'll just check the old feed, and that will enable anyone who's got any questions around performance marketing to get them in, and I'm sure Crt will. Oh, here we go. Crt is live.
Yeah, we're live.
We are live. Feed. There we are. There's a little bit of a lag, so that's good. Okay, I'll keep my eyes on that, Crt, as we go through. So you've been in business now for 4 years doing this.
Yeah, I mean, I have quite a long background of advertising. I've been in advertising, let's say, professionally for 10 years now. I started out in an advertising agency based in Slovenia, and I actually didn't like it, to be honest, because they didn't give me the freedom of implementing the advertising at that specific time. Because if you take in into notice, like 10 years ago, no one was, I mean, not no one was advertising, but it wasn't as um, it wasn't as known as it is today. So at that time, I really wanted to implement that in the advertising space, because at the time, what they were doing is they were selling this social management, taking care of Facebook, Instagram profiles, and pretty much all of organic stuff that they could sell through graphic design and copywriting. And they didn't see the actual potential. So that was the reason why I got out. And then, quite soon after, I joined a startup where in pretty much a period of 6 months, I've been able to increase the revenue for 40%, which was quite well. And then I got headhunted by another startup, which was in cryptocurrency based project. Didn't work out because we were actually in a really bad, timing, because that's when the first Bitcoin crash happened, and the whole project kind of just didn't work out. And then after that, I asked myself what I want to do and what am I really good at, and the answer was pretty much obvious. And I always wanted to own my own company, so that's why Dope Media. And yeah, we're in business for almost 4 years now.
And I for those that are a bit old out there, dope as in good media, not dope as in.
Yeah, this was actually quite controversial when I came here to London. Dope means kind of a cool thing. That's quite dope. So that's why Dope Media. Um, as pretty much any owner can imagine, picking out a name isn't that easy, as much as it would seem that it's easy, but it's really not. So that was just kind of I wasn't even expecting it to be that, let's call it big or whatever you want to call it. So it was just a cool name that I wanted to use, and yeah, it kind of stuck.
It does, and it definitely does the job. So, Crt, we're going to share your screen, and you can take people through a little sort of a few slides and talk about performance marketing in detail. I'll keep an eye on the chat. I can already see that the fantastic Tom Donnelly is on, along with Justin Moy. So he's saying hello there. There's quite a few people on here live. Please pop a little comment on the chat. It's great to see that people are on here watching live. And to those that are on catch up, hello as well. Your comments still matter. We still get to see them. So please pop them in there and we'll do our best to answer any questions you might have around paid advertising and performance marketing. So I am just going to make the adjustments. And Curt, it's over to you.
Perfect. I'm not sure if they can see my screen. They can?
Yep.
All right, perfect. So I've prepared a couple of slides just to break down what Dope Media Agency really is. I don't want this to be a boring kind of presentation slide, so I'm just gonna quickly sweep through it. So what Dope Media really is doing is we are a performance-based marketing agency. What we do, our whole purpose is to scale businesses. So we are not a agency that would, let's say, provide single services such as Facebook advertising or just Google advertising or email marketing. We combine all of those and create a framework that we use for pretty much every single client that we work with. So to break it down, we work in three main pillars. The first pillar is digital advertising. Some of you know it as PPC, where we advertise on pretty much all of the major platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Google, TikTok, and so on. The second pillar is for us very, very important, which is called email marketing. A lot of people still don't know what email marketing is and to what extent you can actually use it, but it's very, very, very effective when it comes to profit. You can generate a lot of additional revenue, um, and that's a really good thing. So just like a little bit of explainer. So email marketing, we divide it into two main categories. So the first thing is the campaigns, right? So the campaigns, what it means is that you would manually send the emails out. Some of you may know it as a newsletter, but pretty much it's called campaigns. So what you can do is you can segment your audience and you can send them pretty much customized emails, for Christmas, for, I don't know, cross sells, product launches, whatever. And then you have what's called email automation. So email automation basically means that we can, by using a software such as, let's say, Klaviyo or Omnisend, we know what the user is doing on the website. So what you can do is let's say if you're offering free shipping over 50 pounds on the order, what you can do is you can segment the audience based on the value of the product. So you can divide it into two columns and say, if the product is above 50 pounds, you can say, don't forget your product, and you have a free shipping available as well, just because of this product. So that's just a single, very simple explanation. And then the third pillar is what we do is we create sales funnels, and we focus on CRO. For you who don't know what CRO is, it means conversion rate optimization. So it has to do with the on-site optimization. So that would relate to product pages, product pages, or let's say landing pages. How well you can actually optimize the page for it to convert as much as it can. So let's say an average conversion rate would be 2%, which basically means that 2 out of 100 people that come to the website would actually convert and become your client. So our job is to make sure that we increase that percent to as high as we can. So let's say a really, really good conversion rate would be anywhere from let's say around 6%, and an average would be around 1.5 to 2%, just as a benchmark. So who we work with is we work with two kinds of clients. We work with really big clients or big companies, whatever you want to call them, and small businesses. So small business for us would be someone that is generating less than 50K a month. That's what we consider a small business. And the way we work, I just want to break this down so you have a feeling of how what you can actually expect if you work with an agency in performance marketing. So let's say we sign a contract with a client. What we do first is we send out a questionnaire, which is a pretty detailed questionnaire. We ask you about your KPIs, your background in advertising, how much you were spending, how you got the content, how you got the UGC, and all of that stuff. Once we have that, we take a day or two to analyze it, and then after that, we invite you to a to a workshop that lasts anywhere from 3 to 4 hours. And on that workshop, we actually go through the whole process of, just pretty much getting to know you as much as we can, getting to know your brand, getting to know your audience. And based off of that, we can actually start preparing the strategy. And we analyze your accounts, we analyze your softwares and all of that, what you're using. And then the second stage is we start creating. What we have is an internal team that provides all of the graphic design, copy. We create the landing pages ourselves as well. Then we set up the email flows, and we send it over to our client to confirm it or to approve it. So that's the second step. The third step is basically the stage where we already have everything prepared and we start running ads. We start with small budgets, we test everything out, and then after that we start seeing the the kind of let's say what works and what doesn't. And then in the fourth stage we start optimizing these things. And once we have everything down and we see it works, in the fifth stage we start scaling. And obviously the last stage is the profit, what we all want, right? um I'm just going to break down a basic sales funnel because I believe that still a lot of people have absolutely no idea what a sales funnel is. So this is a simple breakdown of a sales funnel. So what you would do on the left side here, you would have all the sources of your, let's say, basic platforms such as YouTube, Google organic search, Google display ads, Google search ads, Instagram and Facebook ads, right? So we would take, let's say a normal company would just take a person to a product page. But what we do is we take them to a landing page that is optimized for a either specific product or a specific service. So once we have them on that landing page, we try to get their email as fast as we can. So what we found out, that one of the things that really works well is if we create a questionnaire. So by questionnaire, you can really get to know your audience, and you can educate them way more efficiently than you would if you just take them to the product page, wouldn't get any of their emails, and that's it. So we take them to a landing page, we give them a questionnaire, so we get to know them, and then once we get to know their what they actually are looking for, searching for, we take them to a customized result landing page, as we call it. So the result landing page would be the whole, let's say, content on that landing page would be focused around their result, right? So after we have that, we can use remarketing, either email or ads, and we take them to, let's say, a booking landing page, or if it's a product page, we take them to a product page. And then we can also, if they don't convert, we can hit them with remarketing one more time and try to convince them to actually buy. So that is let's say a basic sales funnel.
Sure. Can we just go back on that one slide? Because I think what's important just to expand on is, why would I send someone to a landing page versus don't I just want to send them to the homepage of my website?
Yeah, it's quite a big difference, right? So the way I like to put it, homepage would be something that is more or less like a representation of your company, what you're doing, your vision, mission, what you're selling, and all of that. And it's not really focused on conversions, right? So that's the whole difference. Whereas landing page, what it gives you, let's say, more detailed information about a specific product or a service. Furthermore, on the landing page, you wouldn't have any additional buttons. So when you get on a landing page, either you leave the landing page or you do a specific call to action that we ask you to do. So, if our mission is to get an email from the customer or a lead, whatever, we would select just one CTA. So just one button for them to do. So what they have to do is they have to either give us an email or they just have to leave. That's pretty much all it is to it. On the homepage, you have all these distractions. You have the menu. You're trying to, show them, I don't know, your previous work, whatever, all that stuff. Whereas landing page, again, is very focused on conversions. So that's what it allows you.
A beautiful description. It's uncluttered, and it really focuses people to
exactly
take action.
Exactly.
I've got a couple of other questions that are sort of coming through, but you carry on, sir, and we'll jump in a bit later.
No, I mean, if you can, if you want to ask, you can ask now.
No, I think I think what was nice about the way you were talking is that it's not just about doing something in isolation. So a lot of people that I speak to, when they ask sort of for my advice, they say, oh, they've tried PPC and it didn't work. And when I
Yeah,
drill down and ask them what they did, they probably just did one of those things. And
exactly.
it, because maybe that's all they could afford, or they didn't realize that they could integrate an email campaign into people's visits to their website and so on and so forth. So it's really about that, attacking things from more than one angle, and people seeing your message, like with your remarketing, right? Someone lands on your page, they go through the process, but they don't commit. And then all
Exactly.
of a sudden they're seeing their advert on Instagram or on Facebook, and it's reminding them of that product, and hopefully at a time where it's right to buy. Yeah.
Exactly. Well said, and it's very, very true. As an example, if you just, let's say you would be using email marketing, if you don't have enough of a sufficient source of traffic, you're not gonna see much result. Or in the other case, if you would just be using, as you said, like just PPC, you wouldn't be seeing good results as well. I mean, it's very hard, and it's very unfortunate that people don't realize how important it is to incorporate all of these steps at once, because that's what gives you results. You can have the best agency in the world working on your Google Ads. Yes, you're gonna see revenue, of course, but it would be a way different story if you would be putting the whole framework at work. So
Well,
yeah, all right, cool. So this is pretty much another representation of a sales funnel. It's just related to product pages, as you can see here. Pretty much the same situation, just a different kind of sales funnel. So what I want to kind of break down right now is how we actually approach Facebook ads. I want to talk about Facebook ads because still the majority of people are familiar with it. If we go down the TikTok ads rabbit hole, it's going to just take too long. So this is basically what we use for our clients. First of all, you need to understand, the full funnel breakdown, what it means, and how you can actually approach the whole situation. Whenever we talk to a really small client, they say the same way as you did. We tried it, and we tried Facebook ads, but they don't work. And then when we ask them, okay, so what have you actually tried? They reply, yeah, we tried two ads and they didn't work. So of course it didn't work because, like, first of all, you need to understand of how much effort you actually need to put in to produce the content, first of all. So I'm just going to go through the whole levels for you to see what it means. So let's say a full funnel breakdown. The level one, right, is what we call a top of the funnel. So short term for this is TOF. So top of the funnel means cold traffic. So we try to get people to the website that have absolutely no idea who we are. So they don't know you. So the content has to be adjusted to that, right? And then the second level is what we call middle of the funnel. So middle of the funnel would be someone, a person, a lead that interacted with our ad, but didn't necessarily came to our website. So that could be, I don't know, them watching our video, or liking our ad, or commenting on our ad, or just sharing the ad. So that would be that would be a middle of the funnel. The third level is what we call a bottom of the funnel. Bottom of the funnel means when someone has already been on our website, has I don't know, been on our homepage, maybe seen a blog, whatever. So that's the bottom of the funnel. It means that they could also be on the actual product page, but that's a whole separate level where we divide it in two columns. So the level 4 is what we call remarketing. So remarketing divides into two spaces: view content, which basically means that someone has seen our product, and then remarketing add to cart. Add to cart means, it's pretty self-explanatory. Someone has already put in the product in the cart, but that didn't necessarily convert. The fifth level is what we call retention. So retention is where the customers already bought our products, either one or several products. So this is let's say a basic breakdown of all these 5 levels. So what I prepared here is the actual content that we use for our clients. So let's say in top of the funnel, what we really focus on is the lead generation. Why? Again, because if we get their email, we can further, just like um, further use it down in email marketing software, which really makes a whole lot of difference. So we would use, let's say, lead generation, infographics, educational videos, blogs work really, really well. So educational blogs that are set up in a way that they actually convert. So in the second and third level, what we would be using is testimonials, UGC, influencers, and video micro content. So I'm gonna go through all four of these now. So testimonials are, again, pretty self-explanatory. You could call them reviews or whatever. So the testimonials could be like a video testimonial or just a static testimonial written in text. Then the UGC, what UGC basically means, it's user generated content. I'm gonna further elaborate on that topic as well, but that's what it is, right? So user generated content. Then we have influencers. So we use a lot of influencers. We repurpose their content that they shoot for us, and they post it on their social media as well. And then the video is, again, very, very important. And what we love to use is micro content. So micro content, for us at least, what it means is videos that don't last more than 30 seconds, because our attention span is very, very low. So we have to keep them engaged. We have to kind of like, hype them up about the product and all that stuff. So that's what we use. When you get to a fourth level, where the customer has already, let's say, seen our product or added to the cart, what we use in this stage is, you can use, let's say, if you have a website or a web shop with a lot of products, it's really hard to do remarketing for every single product. So what Facebook does really well is, it allows you to use dynamic reminder ads, right? So it knows specifically that a client has been looking at, I don't know, specific products in a catalog, right? So you can just put the orders in the Facebook and say, okay, if they've seen this, we want to show them the ad for this and that. So that's what's called like the dynamic ads. And we just try to convince them in this stage for them to actually finish and go through with the order. The same goes here in the add to cart level. We give them Q&As. We remind them that they actually can finish the order. We give them promo codes. We tell them that it's a very limited stock. We go through general benefits. We tell them how many people have already been satisfied with using our product, and so on and so on. And then in the fifth stage, what we are using is either content about restocking. We give them, ads about new products, new releases. We ask them to reorder if you have such a product. And what is very important is we cross sell. So if you, let's say, sell a product A, we want to show them the product B as well for them to buy it. And of course, then we have the discount campaigns and so on. In this stage, what I want to go through is just, very, very briefly, the audiences breakdown. So these are all the audiences that we are using. So let's say in the top of the funnel, we would be using very broad audiences or interest-based audience, which we call IBA. And then we can also use lookalikes. So what a lookalike is, let's say Facebook allows you, if you already have a database of your customers, you can import them into the business manager on Facebook. And you can say, okay, give me, let's say, people that are very, very similar to the people that I already have or that have already bought from me. So this is what it's called, lookalike. And then you have all these, Facebook and Instagram engagement audiences, view videos. Let's say we can target someone who has seen over 75% of our video in our top of the funnel, for example, right? And so on and so on. So you can use this audience based on, anywhere from 1 day to 180 days. So what that means is Facebook would look at your audience and say, okay, let's say I wanna show my, let's say, Black Friday campaign to the people that have been on my website in the last 180 days. So that's what you can do. And also you could say, I want to show this campaign to people who have been on my website in the last 14 days, so on and so on. So that's pretty much, hopefully that is very clear. And
Wow.
we can also backtrack and go back to it.
No, no, it's very detailed. I'm just going to ask a question here.
Yeah, let's go back. Of course.
Can you can you just explain how you know
Hmm.
where people are in terms of the stage of the funnel? What's the dark art that you're using to know that someone's visited your website?
Yeah, of course. So pretty much any software, let's say analytical or advertising software that we use, creates, let's say, like a pixel code. It's just a small piece of code that you put on your website, and that actually allows you to get the data from the website to the software, and the software can then can tell you pretty much which audience you want to use, and you are in control of what you want, and it basically just gives you what you want. And yeah, it's a very small piece of code that pretty much any, let's say, junior level developer should be able to implement.
Mm. I, I think what this points out to me in terms of the level of detail is how
Yeah,
important it is to engage a professional to manage this process for you. Because, you know, if you do follow a structure here, it is effective, right?
of
That
course.
I think that we forget a couple of things. The first thing is that not everyone buys the first time they see you. You know, perhaps they want to go away and do some
100%.
research, etc. But um, you need a good number of touch points generally with a brand before you convert. So it's really important. I think, if you don't mind me saying so,
Of
Chert,
course.
the last level, level 5, that that contact after the sale, the after sales bit, that's
Yeah,
something that a lot of people forget about. You know, they get a customer, they do the deal, they're on looking for the next one. Well, this person already knows you. They've
yeah,
potentially had a good experience with you. You know,
yeah,
utilize them to remind them of new products and services or rebuys or recommend a friend, etc. So anyway,
yeah.
that's my thoughts on that.
Yeah, it's 7 times less expensive to actually sell to your existing client than to try to get another one, on average. So
Yeah.
yeah, exactly what you said. The retention phase is very, very important, and as you said again, a lot of people forget about it. But where it actually comes into place is through email marketing. Not necessarily you wanna spend all this money on retention ads. Yes, you do, but the budget, let's say, percentage wise, wouldn't be that high. Let's say if you have a, I don't know, 10K of a budget on a monthly basis, you would spend, I don't know, 10% maybe on retention phase, because you already have their email and they like your brand. You can use it in email marketing, which is going to be way um, less expensive for you. So
And also, you know, if you've got a good CRM system, all this
yes,
stuff's automated. You haven't
of
even got to
course,
touch it.
exactly, of course. I mean, you do have to optimize it, but yeah, it's pretty much automated. It's not like you would be sending those emails or ads or whatever. You would be sending them manually. So yeah,
Okay, Chert, let's crack on. Chris Sylvester's on. He says hello, and so is Yvonne. Hi, guys.
nice. Yeah. Okay, so the next thing what I want to go through is the UGC. UGC is very, very important, and that's why I kind of prepared a slide for it. So basically, UGC is user-generated content as well, and this is how it looks like. I'm sure you've seen these kind of ads on your feeds. So how you can actually obtain user-generated content is, there's a lot of ways to do it. You can do it internally within your company if you have the resources or whatever. But basically, what we love to do is through brand ambassadors. So what you would do is through brand ambassadors, you would actually go to your, let's say, client base, and you would ask them, do you want to become our brand ambassador? And in exchange for a couple of, let's say, content creations, we would give you 30% discount on pretty much every product in our store, or whatever. You can give them for free as well. So this is what's called brand ambassador. And how we do it is, we create again a questionnaire, and we just send it out to the whole email base, and we ask them for their social profiles so we can actually assess whether they're a good fit or not, and ask them, why do you think you would be a good fit for this? And we go through the whole results of the questionnaire, and we just handpick them out, let's say 10 people, and we try to get the content from them in that kind of manner. The second part, which is again also very automated, is you can do what it's called discount incentive. So let's say in retention phase, once the customer has already bought from you, you can ask them, if they when they receive the product, if they would like to do a photo or a video review of the product, and you would give them an incentive in terms of a discount. Let's say you give them a 20 or 30% discount on a new order, and basically in return you would get a video review for them, which works really, really well. It's an ongoing process, so you're getting fresh content all the time, and this is just like a little small hack that you can use pretty much instantly in your email marketing campaigns or automation. Sorry. And then the third part is the platforms. So the platforms, what we use is these two bad boys. The first one is called Epidemic. The second one is called Influee. And these two platforms, what they allow you is pretty much to get to give out orders, and they would search for for good feeds in terms of the people that would actually produce the content for you. So it's a very simple way to use it. Just for let's say for £600, what you would get is 8 videos out of 4 creators, and you can then use that content any way, any type you want, and it's a really good way to get content fast and reliable.
Sure. I'll
Yeah.
jump in here and say that
Of
definitely
course.
influencers, brand ambassadors is a really cost-effective way to spread the word about your product
Awareness, of
or
course. Yeah.
service.
Yeah.
But I think what's important to point out is an influencer doesn't need to have 10 million followers.
Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
There are these micro influencers that actually, in terms of the engagement that their lower level of followers has,
Yeah.
is a lot higher than someone sort of in the limelight that would be very expensive. So don't be put off if they have 10,000 followers, because look at the level of engagement that they have from those followers.
Exactly. Yeah, you have to first, separate them, as you said, like micro and macro and micro. So you just need to test which ones work better for you. What we found out is that not a lot of really big influencers create the revenue that they used to do, so we don't work with them as much anymore. So we rather go to these small ones, which in our case are getting better revenues. You would just get more of them instead of just getting one, and yeah, the results are better, 100%.
Okay, sorry, I kept myself on mute because I had a
Yeah,
report.
sorry. Yeah, I thought I
We were
thought
getting
we
some
got cut off.
feedback, so that's
Okay.
why I've stayed off it. We have got a question that's been asked by Colette Morris, and we were talking about CRMs,
Yeah.
so customer relationship management systems. We're talking all the acronyms today. She's asking, what CRMs would you recommend? Are there any other top of your head, Chert?
I mean, CRM is. Does she mean? Does she mean pretty much like email marketing software, or like?
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
Yeah.
ones that jump to my mind would be, the big one on the marketplace would be Salesforce.
Yeah, but that is very. It's very hard. I mean, it's
It's a
very.
beast, but
It's
it does it,
expensive. Yeah.
it does do it all, and it's
Of
expensive.
course. Yeah,
Then
it's
the
very
most
expensive.
popular ones, I think, are like HubSpot, Active
Yeah.
Campaign, MailChimp, Monday.com. In terms of which ones we'd recommend, I mean, Chert will have his say now in a second, I guess, but I would say, Colette, most of them have like a free version.
Hmm.
Have a play with them and see which one feels good for you. They
Yeah.
pretty much will all do a very similar job. And I would say, if you've never used a CRM system, use one, get used to it. And if it's perhaps not doing what you want it to do, then changing things up and going to a different one is no big deal. Like, but
Yeah.
start using one is what I would say.
Yeah. So HubSpot is a good example, but again, it's quite expensive. So let's say if you have a small business, what I would definitely suggest, first of all, we have to differentiate the two, right? So email marketing software is something really different. It's not really like a CRM, right? The CRM would be, as you said, Salesforce or let's say Pipedrive. But when it comes to email marketing, specifically if you want to automate the process, what I would recommend is either Klaviyo, which is very good, and Omnisend, which is like for us, it's even better. I prefer it, and we're also a official partner with them. So these are the two that I would actually recommend for you to start out with. If you actually are looking for, let's say, a CRM, you can use either Pipedrive, HubSpot, or Asana. But Asana is like, it's not really, it's more like a task software than anything else. So I mean, it's a cheap way of, it's a cheap way to do it, but I would prefer something else, something like Pipedrive,
It's a
because it's not that
it's a
expensive.
very big marketplace,
I
Colette.
mean, yeah, exactly. You have so much softwares out there. You just have to figure out which ones you like. Because I know so much people that some of them prefer Asana, some of them prefer Monday. Then then you have people that prefer Trello. So it just really comes down to what you like.
Try a couple out, Colette, is what I'd say. I mean, Yvonne's saying that she's using the free HubSpot and she finds it very useful. So
Okay.
um, I would
Yeah,
say start using one. You can
exactly, and see how it goes.
export
Exactly.
your content. Yeah. Anyway,
But I
right.
just wouldn't recommend Mailchimp. 100%.
Okay, on its own. Yeah.
Yeah, Mailchimp. Yeah, on its own. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend Mailchimp because it's a very basic email software. They've gotten a little bit better in a couple of years, but yeah, definitely wouldn't recommend Mailchimp. It's like an entry level email marketing software.
Okay, it's the one everyone's heard of, though, I suppose. So,
Yeah,
all
yeah,
right.
I know the majority of people are still using it. Yeah.
Okay, sir. So let's crack on.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. That's the main things that I wanted to go through, and I was really hoping for a couple of more questions that we can actually go through them. And yeah.
Yeah. Well, look, people have been putting some questions in the chat, so please pop them in there as it takes a little while for them to come through.
Hmm.
Um, sure. I think from my point of view, what the light bulb, if you like, that's been switched on by you sort of going through the process
Yeah.
is that when we think of paid advertising, we just think about Google Ads, and it's so much more than that. Um, it seemed to me like the lion's share of the work is done in the follow-up contacts through that funnel and the utilization of communications like email marketing, that the ads themselves are just a lead generating tool per se,
Hmm.
predominantly.
Yeah. 100%. The most effective way to do advertising these days, because the prices, the CPMs have gotten so huge, especially on Facebook. The most efficient way how to do it is through lead generation. Like I'm a really big fan of lead generation because again, it allows you to do things way cheaper for a client. Means you can obtain more profit at the end of the month, at the end of the year. It adds up, right? So lead generation definitely is something that you would have to start implementing. And it doesn't just go to, let's say, service based businesses. You can do it as a product based company as well. So what you would do is you would segment the client and ask them about specific needs that they have, and then actually when they give you those inputs, you can take them to a product page that is relevant to them in so they don't have to search for it on their own. So that's how you can do it, and it's a really good user experience. If you don't create a question that's boring, that's too long, it can work really, really well. And later on as well, you have their inputs, and you can segment them in the email, further down the road, and you can send them either email automations or campaigns based off of those inputs. And yeah, because people just hate when they get irrelevant content, they just hate it. That's why now is a really good time for you to kind of wake up and start thinking about, what can I do in order for my leads, my clients, to feel engaged, to have a feeling that we actually understand what they're looking for, and how we can help them in the most effective and efficient way. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, well, I couldn't agree more. I have had a couple of questions that come in.
Yes.
I'm going to save Johnny's question for next, but some people would have heard about, when you do PPC on Google, that there is an auction that sort of happens. Can you just explain how that system sort of works, and do you have any tips for people that do Google Ads specifically?
Yeah. Okay. So first thing, what I wanted to say is, I'm really not an expert in PPC. I've never liked PPC. I kind of hate it. That's why I have a team that does PPC. So I wouldn't be a reliable source to give any information about that. But it's kind of like pretty self-explanatory. As much as your bid is going to be, more that you are able to afford to pay, and not let someone else outbid you, you would be placed in a higher ranking on Google. So that's pretty much how it works. So if you can outbid your competitors, obviously you're gonna get more exposure, you're gonna get more impressions, and just because of that, you're gonna be able to get more conversions than your clients. What you also have to be aware of, when you're dealing with your competition, is that your brand name on Google can oftentimes be advertised on. So what that means is, let's say on Miles Marketing, let's say we're competitors, right? We're fighting with each other for the clients. So I would go out and create let's say, Google ads on your name. I would say, for everyone that types in Miles Phillips, or just Miles Marketing, Dope Media would end up in the first position on Google.
Outrageous behavior.
So if you see me, yeah. So I mean, yeah, like the auctions are pretty self-explanatory, but it's not just how much you're actually willing to spend. It's so much more. The Google pretty much looks at all the other stuff as well. How fast is your website? Is it related? Is it related to the actual ad that it's out there? So there's just like a lot of stuff that
Yeah,
Google crawlers go through.
I had this conversation this morning. It's a lot about being relevant, because
Of course.
Google, being a search engine, wants to provide people with accurate results.
Correct.
So I would encourage people to think about some good SEO practices first and foremost, before they sort of go head on into spending on Google Ads,
because it forces you to optimize the page first. If you want to rank on SEO, it forces you to optimize it on site and off site as well, like whatever you're doing. And then it's a really good thing to actually start advertising, because it's gonna provide you with more relevant results.
Yeah, and I think a good tip for someone who wants to engage with a professional like you in the performance marketing arena is to spend some time thinking about what their customers are asking Google in relation to your products. Let's make sure that you've done your homework, so that you can provide those keywords and phrases to you to really get some traction. I almost know the answer to this, Curt, but I'll let you ask it. Johnny's asked, how much should I spend on Facebook ads?
I love this one.
It's like, how long's a bit of string? But have you got any sort of parameters or any good advice for Johnny?
Okay, Johnny. So this is it has to be one of the most frequent questions that we get, but it's really, it's not a right question to ask yourself. So you have to ask yourself, if I tell you right now you should be spending 5K, right? And if that's not profitable for you, that's gonna be too much. If I tell you let's spend, I don't know, 300 pounds, and if that's not profitable for you, that's also gonna be, too much. So there's absolutely no cap on how much you can spend while obtaining profitability. Like if you can hit your ROAS, so return on ad spend, that is, that works out for you, there's absolutely no cap on how much you can spend. So if I told you right now, if we would be profitable, would you spend 10K? Probably you would, right? If we can make out of 10K, if we can make 50, 60, or 70, everyone would, right? But the whole shtick is about how we can actually get to the point of that profit. That's the whole game, right? If you can crack it, then there's absolutely no limit on how much you can spend. But of course, at the beginning, we always do a research. Let's say specifically because you're asking about PPC, we would go out and do a keyword research. First of all, you have to ask yourself how many words, how many keywords you want to rank for. That's the first thing, right? We always say focus on just a couple of them, if your budgets are low, because then you can see which keywords are gonna do well and which ones aren't gonna do well, and just try to maintain in that level of your break even or profitable stage. That's pretty much how it works. So there's no specific number. Every keyword is different. Every other keyword has a different competitive level. So for, let's say, in my space, I can give you an example of my space. If we try to rank for Facebook ads, my god, we would go broke in in 3 weeks if we would want to get some results, because it's such a competitive space, right? So what we always advise clients is, if you don't have very big budgets, try to go niche. Try to go very niche, because the competitiveness is way lower, and it's going to allow you to break even faster, and it's going to allow you to generate revenue way faster than if you would to try to rank for the big ones, right? So
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I think as well, you almost have to have a little bit of sacrificial budget at the start of a campaign to
yes,
understand
correct.
what keywords work best for you, right? I mean, it's a hard conversation to have with someone, that they need to throw some money at it to understand what works and what doesn't. But
Yeah, yeah.
unfortunately, it's the nature of the beast. I'm just checking. We've still got quite a few people online. So if you've got any specific questions that you'd like Chert to answer, then please pop them in the chat ASAP, because we're coming to the end of our chat today. I think it's been fabulous, Chert. I suppose we could do a 3-hour session on
Yeah,
this, because
it's nice to talk to someone that is actually from the same industry, and it's very fun to interact with someone like that.
yeah. Well, look, I mean, this is what it's all about. This session has been for you to explain your level of expertise. But Colette's come on and she says, thanks very much, Chert. Great information and advice, and she much appreciates it. So
Thank you.
thanks for watching, I guess, Colette. Chert, do you have any sort of pearls of wisdom that you'd like to leave the viewers with? Because I know that we might not have millions of people watching us live, but so many people watch this on catch up now and
Yeah.
get a lot of benefit from it. That's been the feedback I get.
Well, the best advice would be, if you do own a business, or if you're just employed in a business, and if you're still contemplating whether to start, doing ads, or let's say the whole scaling thing on a high level, now is still the time, because we don't know what's going to happen in a couple of years. So now it's a really good time to start building your base. Try to focus on lead generation marketing, because let's say in 3 years time, if you turn off your ads, fine, you're not going to have anything to show. But let's say in 3 years from now on, if you start doing and implementing the lead generation campaigns, you would have, let's say, 10,000 relevant leads, and that's what's called an asset, right? So you would still have assets at the end of 3 years, and you could always repurpose them, and you can always, even if you go to a different, let's say, I don't know, industry, whatever, you still have those assets. Some of them may convert, and some of them may not, but still you have something that you can actually hold on, and then translate to another platform that's going to pop up. We don't know what's going to happen. TikTok is now very, very relevant, but yeah, we just don't know. So don't be afraid. Don't do it on your own. 100%. If you have no experience, don't do it on your own, because you're gonna take a year of your time trying to do something. Then it's gonna take you 1 year to recover from your emotional damages. And no, it's very true. And you're not gonna be able to trust anyone, either like you're working with an agency or whether you're working with a what's it called, a single person freelancer, right? So
Yeah.
it's going to take you a lot of time to start trusting people again and to try to test it out, and you're going to spend 2 years before you know it. So
it was a great nugget there of knowledge, and I think that it's like, don't run before you can walk, right?
exactly.
And
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, Colette now is thinking about sort of implementing a CRM. You might think that you're on your own. A lot of my customers don't have, or when I started working with them, didn't have a CRM. And by putting those things in place, by collecting the data and building your database, you can continue to have those conversations with your audience, day in, day out, week in, week out, month in, month out, year in, year out. Because let's just remember that we're not all at that stage to buy all of the time. And I'll just give one example that one of my latest clients, I met them 3 years ago. And, we've stayed in contact through, having each other's details and then being linked to me on LinkedIn, etc. And lo and behold, when the time was right for them, then I was within their sort of world in terms of to be able to contact. So don't just think about here and now, think about the longer game, think about building relationships with your database.
Very well said. Also, maybe one thing, just as a goodbye, don't focus too much on organic stuff. Yes, it is important, but if you're planning on hiring someone to do your Facebook posts, Instagram posts, or whatever it is, try to repurpose that money rather in paid advertising, because you have to understand that especially Facebook and Instagram has become just like pretty much any social media app right now, right? Is what we call it pay to play. So you have to pay in order to get something. So they're not, you can have the best content in the world, but they're not gonna let that the organic stuff is gonna go to your, like, the most of your audience that you have. Even if you have, let's say, 10,000 followers, if you don't spend a couple of pounds, they're not gonna let that content go viral. So rather try to focus on ads than just organic stuff, and you're gonna be way better off. So
yeah, you're not gonna beat the algorithm in that.
Exactly. There's no hack for that. Yeah. There's no hack.
Well, fantastic. We've retained a good level of audience here. I know it's been streaming on your LinkedIn page as well, which is fantastic. So the information's on the screen. Take a screenshot now or jot down Crt, CRT, at dope-media.com. Get in touch with Crt. I'm sure he's going to be happy to answer any detailed questions that perhaps you didn't want to share publicly on this forum. I'd like to say thank you so much indeed for coming and sharing your knowledge and your good looks with us. And I'm sure we'll be raising a glass of fizz at some swanky networking event, which we
it's been too long.
Yeah, it's gonna happen towards the end of this month, I think, Crt. So
all right.
Thank you so much indeed for watching. Thanks all for your comments, and until next time. Thank you, Crt.
Thank you, Miles. It was nice talking to you.
It was beautiful talking to you too, sir. Thanks very much. Bye-bye for now.